In this short video, we are going to show you how to model hanging steel columns in the RAM modeler. First, let's take a quick look at our structure that we've started already. If I use the Layout pull-down menu, I can see that this model contains a first floor level and also a roof level, and they have been defined in that order within the story data. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 3D view. And so far, I've only completed the geometry on my roof level. So let's go ahead and return to the RAM modeler, and let's start by creating some standard steel columns. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the material and the layout that I'm going to be working on, and then I'm going to make sure that my layout column icon is active. Once that is active, I'm going to see all the tools that I'm going to need in order to model those types of members or assign properties to them. So let's go ahead and click on the On Grid command, and let's add some standard columns on some of our grid intersections. We're going to call it standard column. They're going to be gravity members, and we're just going to use I sections with a yield strength of 50 KSI. Now for a standard column, basically what it is a column member that's going to be modeled on a particular layout, and it's going to be projected down. Now in RAM structural system, you are allowed to create steel columns that are standard steel columns, meaning base supported, using either I sections, rectangular HS sections, or also round HS sections. So once we're ready to create this type of geometry, let's go ahead and click on the fence option. And then we'll draw a fence around all of the grid intersections that we need. Now let's go ahead and return to that three-dimensional view, and I can see that these columns have now been lengthened. They're at the same exact location as they are on the floor above, and these are all standard columns. They are base supported, they were modeled on a particular layout, and they are projected down. Let's go ahead and return to our RAM modeler, and what we're going to do this time is let's go ahead and model some hanging steel columns, because what I'm going to assume is maybe I have some type of catwalk or mezzanine in this particular area that cannot be base supported, so I need to hang it basically from the level above. I'm still going to go to my layout column icon, and I'm still using my on grid option, but this time I'm going to tell the program I want to do a hanging column. Now for a hanging column, if I model it at this level, it's basically going to be modeled at this level and projected up instead of down, and it will need to have some members above it in order to support it. So I'm going to say a hanging column. It's going to be a gravity section. And then if I use this pull down menu, I can see that I have several different types of members that I can choose from, including I sections, channels, angles, tubes, T's, and also round or flat bars. And again, these are going to be more of your like tension type members. So let me go ahead and say these are going to be rectangular HS sections, and I'll enter my appropriate yield strength of steel. And let me go ahead and click the fence option. Now I'm going to notice a little symbol that looks like basically a coat hanger on top of each of these columns, which will visually indicate for me that these are hanging columns. Now let's return to our 3D view so we can kind of start seeing what that looks like. And here we can see those columns have been projected up. Let's go ahead and exit out of that, and now I can just complete my framing. So I'm going to add some steel beams that's going to connect this area. And maybe I'm going to add a generation of beams. Basically, maybe I'm creating some type of catwalk. And again, let's return to that 3D area. So now I'm basically hanging that entire catwalk from the framing above. Now, it might be a good idea to also make sure that your hanging columns are braced in both directions. So I'm going to go up to the roof level. And see, basically, it's going to be supported by this girder right here. And just to make sure that that girder is braced, I'm going to add some framing members that are going to basically join up with that girder where the hanging column is being supported by it. Now, whenever you create hanging columns within RAM structural system, the gravity analysis will be an iterative analysis because as it needs to, it typically does its analysis and design in RAM steel from the top of the structure on down. But as it works its way on down, it's going to evaluate those hanging levels and then need to return back to the level above and do an iterative approach until the model is in equilibrium and all of your loads have been taken care of by the gravity system. And again, just one last time, let's go ahead and take a look at the 3D view of our structure. And here we have our hanging framing.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.